Hey, welcome my awesome students. So I'm in Windows right here, and I decided to make a couple lectures, maybe one lecture. I don't think I can cover everything in one lecture, but a couple lectures to show you guys how to use the terminal. Some of you that are new, if you are not brand new to the terminal or command prompt, don't worry about it. Then you can skip this whole section. So even though I'm going to be recording this in Windows, this can be applied to Ubuntu or Mac operating systems. Now, if you notice, most of the time when us instructors or when you're taking a class online, right, the teacher is actually using most of the time a Mac operating system. Okay, the reason we do that is because it's just for web development, it's a lot easier to code. We have more flexibility using a Mac operating system or a Linux-based operating system than using Windows. It's just more web development friendly, okay? But anyway, so some of the tools that you have to have that we're gonna have to download right now to continue with this lecture is called the Git Bash, okay? I deleted that from my Windows operating system right now because I wanted to show you how to install this, but this is super simple, okay? You can use it for Mac OS, for Windows, and for Linux. So if you just download it and install it like any program in your computer, you should be fine. But I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna download and install the standalone 64-bit because my computer is 64-bit. If you have a very old computer, maybe it's the 32-bit. I'm gonna click that, run. And I'm gonna set it up real quick. Okay, now one thing to keep in mind, I got installed Visual Studio Code. If you don't have it, I really recommend that text editor for coding in any language. Okay, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, they work very good with Visual Studio Code. So I would suggest to pause the video and download it. It's a very good editor. Now, for some of you that have taken some of my other courses, you know that I use PHP Storm for PHP or WebStorm for JavaScript. They are from JetBrains, but I also use what I'm using lately is IntelliJ IDEA from them. There's another editor that's kind of universal, all right? But anyway, let's keep going here. Let's go Nets. I already had it before, so that's why it prompted me to saying that it already exists in that file. I'm going to click Nets. I'm selecting on the desktop here because I want the shortcut here on my desktop. Nets. I'm going to click on this select here. I'm going to choose Visual Studio Code as a Git's default editor. Okay. Just because it's so awesome to have it. So I'm just going to select the first here is use Visual Studio Code as a Git's default editor. Nets. And I'm just going to keep Nets. I'm not going to keep saying that. Okay. I'm just going to keep clicking Nets. Right there in the middle. All default settings. Mostly. I'm going to enable this one. Symbolic links. And maybe this new feature I'm going to enable it just to try it out maybe in the future. Okay. So depending on your system, this is going to take a little bit. Okay. I'm using, believe it or not, I'm using VMware, which is a software for macOS system to do Windows stuff. All right. So if I go to my other side of the desktop here, you can see that this is my Mac right here, and this is Windows. But if I put my mouse here, you can see that I'm running a virtual computer. Okay. Inside my Mac. I don't want to start the computer right now, but you are welcome to do that. Restart your computer so Git Bash will be installed properly. I already had it installed, so I got a feeling it's going to work. Okay. Another tool that I want you guys to be to have if you're doing any PHP is you should have Composer. Okay. So get composer.org. If you're using a Mac, Then follow the download documentation for Mac, which is this one here. Okay, copy this into your terminal and paste it. But for Windows, what we need is the installer, which, let me see, Windows, there we go. And click it. It was right in front of me all this time. Can you believe it? Okay. Guys, one of the reasons why we have to, why we need this, to know a little bit about the terminal, because when we are developing, we encounter a lot of downloading packages, dependencies for other plugins or things that we want to do in our applications, right? So we need to know the terminal a little bit. We at least need to know the basics of using the terminal. Okay. Take control and just install Composer. An installer would not be included. I'm just gonna click Next here, and this is going to install my Composer on XAMPP, because that's my PHP environment, I believe, for this computer. That's fine. This is a PHP executable. Actually, this is where Composer will find that executable. That's a path right there. If you don't have this selection like I do, go ahead and click Browse and make sure that you have XAMPP or MAMP or whatever you got, and follow this here. If you have XAMPP, follow the XAMPP folder, the PHP folder, and then find the executable. And then once you find it, then click Next. Because Composer needs to find the PHP executable to run stuff. And enter and install. Okay. Alrighty. So now if I open Git Bash and I type in, let's make this a little bigger. I'm gonna right click on the window, options, text, select, and then I'm gonna make this maybe 22 and click OK. Apply and OK. Apply, save, and if I type in Composer, I should get something like this. Okay, and that means it's installed. And as you saw, I opened my Git Bash. So this is what we're going to be learning, guys. Okay, how to use this bad boy right here. Like I mentioned, you can use this for Mac OS, for Linux, and of course for Windows. And basically they all behave the same. And this behaves the same as if you are in Ubuntu. This behaves very similar to the Ubuntu terminal that you can open. And if you're using a Mac, this behaves very similar to the terminal in the Mac. Okay, all the commands that I'm going to show you here, they work almost exactly the same in those computers or in those operating systems. Okay, so this lecture is very important for you guys to follow if you want to get into the next level of web development. I'll see you in the next lecture, guys.